Hi guys, thanks for joining us again on the channel. So, there's a reason I haven't talked about this one until now. It's not because I didn't want to talk about it, but because I needed to get it right. And now, the wait's over. But before we get into that, don't forget to check this exclusive discount for it. You can find the link in both the video description and the top comment below. Now, let's not waste any more time and jump right into the details.
Let's begin by examining the insights provided by our first reviewer.
This reviewer initially had a very positive experience with their new printer. Right out of the box, the device felt quite solid and substantial, a noticeable step up from a previous, lighter model that felt more like a toy. The setup process, while involving a lot of steps, was guided by very clear instructions and took about half an hour to get the machine unpacked and connected to the wireless network. The initial test page looked terrific, and our reviewer was pleased with the convenience of wireless printing, which eliminated a cable and allowed for easy printing from other devices like their phone. While getting the more advanced remote printing feature to work took a couple more hours of effort, it eventually functioned as advertised. Diving deeper, this client did some research on the long-term running costs. They noted the machine has a replaceable maintenance well for waste ink and explored options from an online source for third-party refillable ink cartridges, which could significantly lower expenses compared to buying new official cartridges each time. They were also pleased that the printer seemed to accept these non-genuine cartridges without issue. However, despite this promising start and the effort invested in understanding its features and consumables, the experience took a sharp downturn. Ultimately, the printer suffered a critical failure when the black ink simply stopped working. Our reviewer tried all the standard troubleshooting steps, including using a cleaning kit on the print head and even installing a brand new ink cartridge, but nothing could resolve the issue. The machine that had once been so impressive was now just a useless paperweight. This complete failure led them to give up on the brand entirely, deciding to try a competitor for their next purchase, leaving them thoroughly disappointed after such a positive beginning.
Cool, let's uncover what our next reviewer has to say.
This reviewer has been using this all-in-one device for a month now, and overall it's been a decent experience. The primary reason for buying this printer was to replace a previous model that constantly lost its Wi-Fi connection, causing a lot of frustration. Thankfully, this one hasn't had any of those issues, which has been a huge relief for the family. However, there are some things to consider. It's definitely more suited for personal use. The paper tray capacity is too small for anything resembling a home office. For that, you need to consider a higher-end model, though you might miss out on the memory card readers this one has. Setting it up wasn't the smoothest experience either. There was a lot of packaging tape, including one piece hidden near the cartridge slots that caused a screeching halt during the initial setup. It took some searching to find it, and the printer gave no indication as to what the problem was. The build quality is a bit of a mixed bag. The lid in particular feels cheap and doesn't stay open unless it's fully extended, which can be annoying. It also operates faster than the old printer, but it is considerably louder. Print quality is acceptable for documents, but our reviewer doesn't print enough photos to comment on that aspect. They usually go to a photo center for pictures anyway, as it's cheaper than buying a ton of ink cartridges. Initially, our reviewer had trouble scanning with their Mac, even though printing worked fine. It turned out they needed to download the driver from the manufacturer's website. Once that was installed, scanning worked, but the scan quality is better suited for documents than photos, as the colors tend to be muted. The most frustrating thing about this printer is the fax function. There's no indication on the touchscreen about the progress of the fax, which is unusual. To find out if a fax was sent successfully, you have to go into the fax history log.
Cool, let's uncover what our next reviewer has to say.
This reviewer decided to try this all-in-one printer after their previous one bit the dust in a rather frustrating way. Apparently, that brand had a known issue that they weren't willing to fix, so our reviewer switched loyalties based on a recommendation from a reputable review site. The cost of ink is definitely a factor, as it always is with these devices, but this client prioritized convenience and print quality over squeezing every last penny, especially since they don't print a ton. The two-sided scanning is a nice bonus, and while the print quality is good, our reviewer couldn't tell a huge difference compared to older tech. However, there was a major headache: the Wi-Fi. The printer initially connected to the iMac just fine, but only for a single use. After that, it would show a strong connection and the router even recognized it, but any attempt to print resulted in a communication error. Redoing the Wi-Fi setup would work once. That's obviously not ideal. Tech support tried their best but hadn't encountered this specific problem before. Despite their initial skepticism, our reviewer managed to convince them that it wasn't just a simple router issue. They even sent out a replacement, but the new one had the exact same Wi-Fi problem. While the issue might be related to their Mac or router setup, the previous printer worked without a hitch. Just when our reviewer was ready to throw in the towel and demand a refund, the time invested in a significant ink purchase motivated them to find a workaround. Thankfully, they figured out a solution involving a static IP address and shared detailed instructions on how to set it up. Now that the printer is working properly, our reviewer is finally happy with it.
That's all for today. If you like this, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments.